The story of Esther and Leadership Montgomery starts actually probably 27, maybe 28 years ago. And it's sort of apocryphal. She was with the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce, or she had just left there. And for some reason, she tells me that she was in the back seat of a car with Larry Pignoni. I don't know if that's metaphorical or otherwise, but Larry was talking about this great program, Leadership Washington, that he'd heard of. Esther Newman had heard of it but didn't know much about it, and basically they agreed Montgomery County needed a training ground for community leaders, and that looked like a good model. Fast forward, we got started and she enrolled me as her facilitator, and as she built the core program, which of course is the one that we are probably most familiar with, she then decided that there were other programs that she saw at national conferences and other places that we should do as well. One was the Youth Leadership Program, then the Senior Program, then an Emerging Leaders Program. I mean, it's basically a corporation run amok at this point.
Leadership Montgomery has been a tremendous way for me to really get involved in the county that I live in.
I think that Leadership Montgomery has opened as many doors for me as it has opened my opportunity to meet many other people.
I think it has really extended my network and my sense of family in the community. And Esther has played a major part of that because she has been the steward or the conductor, if you will, of this orchestra, which we call Leadership Montgomery.
Something I admire so much about Esther is how she is able to think nationally and yet act locally. That's hard to do.
Esther's talent as a connector, Esther's talent as a fundraiser, Esther's talent as a hugger, that's what she did. And for the most part, she left the curriculum and the talking and the topics and the retreats to other people.
Esther elicits enthusiasm because her enthusiasm is so contagious. But I think her greatest strength is her ability to get others to never say no, especially when it comes to serving others.
When I went to work for the Baltimore Symphony at Strathmore, I really needed a crash course, and Leadership Montgomery was that crash course, and Esther was my guide.
The difference between a good leader and a great leader is a good leader finds attributes within an individual. What a great leader does is they're able to find those attributes and put them to use for the betterment of the community.
What I remember most about Esther, and I still do this, is when I see her, first thing, give her a hug, because she expects it, but you also want to give that to her. She's always said that she has 2 children of her own, but she has a bigger family, and that's the family of Leadership Montgomery.
Esther, I think everybody knows our secret, that you and I are twins who were separated at birth. But you know, you had a great idea when you convinced me to shave my head and to stay in that tanning booth a little longer than you. Now everybody can tell us apart.
Esther, there's 2 things to come to mind when I think of you. One is Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Woman. The second is Proverbs 31 Woman. If you haven't looked it up, you can look it up, but the basic part of it is that you are phenomenal, you care for your family, your friends, your life, and you've done so much for all of us. Thank you.
I remember when, once upon a time, I did the covers for the annual report, and I had a masterpiece. It was a symphony of all the leaders with musical instruments, and you were conducting at Strathmore, and it was a great cover shot. And what did you say? Before I could even get it printed, you were talking about making next year's even better.
How do you ever manage to categorize 2,000 some graduates year by year over 26 years?
I was trying to think if there's any continent you hadn't visited yet with Stu, and I think maybe the Arctic Circle, but I suspect you've probably been there. So I'm convinced that one day when they do offer commercial trips to the moon, you and Stu will be the first ones on there because, of course, that's the one place you haven't been together.
When Isaac Shulman was born, I will never forget receiving a baby shirt with the words "Future Leader" emblazoned on it. And I can't wait to see him go through the program.
You know very well you're not going to just walk away. So we'll see you at homecoming, we'll see you at events, and we'll see you around Montgomery County.
Esther, this is Elliot now. Remember one thing. I know everything about you. Have a good life.